Hello there. So it's been I think maybe a couple of weeks or so. How's it going? Um, I just want to share something real quick. It's not a big deal. I've just been hearing this a lot, and it's not that I disagree with it. I just want to add a little bit to it that I haven't heard a lot of people say. So people have said, you hear this a lot, that you have to give in order to receive. Some people might have a hard time with that kind of message because there's just a lot more to understand when it comes to that saying. It's just really a lot more to understand, because the way people comprehend giving is just like at word value. You have to give something to somebody else in order to receive. A lot of people might have a problem with just saying it like that, because there's a lot of people who give, and they're completely depleted. Things are not put back into them. So I'm not disagreeing with the message. It's just the way people take things, the way things are taken word for word. Because see, giving could be giving to yourself too. And that's the reason why I'm saying I'm not completely disagreeing with that message. I'm disagreeing with how society has comprehended that message. Let me say it like that. The way it's been taught, the way it might have been taught by some leaders, and then the way the society has interpreted that message and passed it on to generation after generation after generation. Okay? It's not the actual message that's wrong. It's the way that it's interpreted. And the first person you have to give to is yourself. You cannot. That's like feeding other people and you don't eat anything. Are you gonna? I mean, especially if you're in a physical rule set, because I always say we're in a virtual reality type of physical rule set. And would it make sense, right, for you to feed everybody else and you just never, ever eat food? Are you going to eventually die? Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's the way that society has interpreted the message that can really get, that message can really get under people's skin, because the way it has been taught generation after generation. The same thing with the Bible. The way it has been interpreted generation after generation after generation, when a lot of stuff from the Bible comes from some manuscripts that came thousands of years before that, and I'm talking about prior to Egypt too, okay? But people, the way it's interpreted is word for word, as if it all just happened maybe 2,000 to 7,000 years ago, when there are a lot of stuff that come from the Bible happened before that. Okay, and so the way it's interpreted is the reason why some people they cannot accept the message, because the truth is not really. It's almost like you have to search for the truth, and because a large part of the truth is missing, a lot of people can't accept it because it's something that's missing. And I'm not saying completely agree with everything that's in the Bible, because I don't agree with everything that I've read, but what I'm saying is it's a lot that's misinterpreted as well. But this ain't about the Bible. I don't want to make it about that. That was just an example. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so yeah, this thing about you got to give until receive. Now, in my experience with giving, here's what I had to learn in my experience, in my life experience. Number one, you need to be open to receive, but also you need to have the self-worth. You need to know what you're worth. Are you worth somebody giving what you feel like you want? Because a lot of times we can say out our mouth what we want, and we deserve, but then deep down inside somewhere, the self-worth is missing, even though you can say out your mouth what you want. But there is something spiritual, and it could have come from childhood. It could have come from trauma. It's something that was put there, even though you feel like on the surface you know what you want. There's something deep that is derailing you getting really what you want. Okay, there's something derailing. And I mean, it could be a lot of things. I don't like to just pinpoint and say it's one thing. I don't like it. Sometimes I don't like when folks do that. When somebody might make a video and say, here's why you're not getting what you want. And they might say one or two things, and that's supposed to define maybe 8 billion people in the world, why some people might not. That can't be, that's not true. You know, but they say things based on their experience and what they had to learn in life, and they put that on everybody, you know. But, you know, for me, this is for me, because this is my life experience. Okay, so my life experience, I grew up with someone who raised me, someone who was called a mother, that I saw as a mother who raised me. And when I say I saw as a mother, it's not because I don't see her as a mother. It's not because of resentment. It's because of a deeper level of understanding that I have, that some people are in your life for a certain time, and then that time is up. So that's why I said somebody who was a mother, because she's no longer a mother, you know. And a lot of things happen at a younger age. A lot of things happen as a child. A lot of her insecurities were put in me, stuff that I did not have when I was a little girl. I don't remember. See, the good thing is a lot of things, I remember the shift that happened when I was about 7. But it started a few years before I was 7. But everything was like, it took a turn for the worse when I was 7. And it was things she was doing, spiritual things. Okay? And so a lot of the things that was happening in my inner world really was due to that, and it went into my older life because I didn't get why things was happening. I remember when things changed for me, but I did not understand or understand why. So the thing is, I understand the concept of giving to receive. You have to give in order to receive. But for me, I was like extremely nice in giving, but you just give to anybody. You don't necessarily receive everything that you're putting out there, because it's the imbalance. So that's another thing with giving, and you got to give in order to receive. It needs to be balanced in your giving. You just don't give to any and everybody. You do not cast your pearls to swine. Casting your pearls to swine does not result in you receiving. It does not. When you keep casting seeds on rocky ground, it does not result in you receiving. It doesn't. So I just feel like that message needs to be explained a little better, because I don't disagree with it, but it's left like that. And then depending on where somebody else is in their life, they're going to take it word for word, just like it said, but it's deeper. It's a deeper to it, depending on where you are in your life and your reality. And depending on where you are in your specific reality, you're going to take it a different way, depending on your growth. You're going to take it a different way depending on your growth. Because a year ago, I would not have said what I just said now. It all has to do with your growth, how that message hits you. You know? Okay, so the first law of nature is self-preservation, right? So going back to that, okay, what if give, you got to give in order to receive, right? If somebody take that word for word, they think they have to give. But if you're not receiving, they're going to have a problem why they're not receiving, right? And it's like the first person you give to is yourself, but not necessarily being self-centered, right? Not necessarily being self-centered, but it's the first person you give is to yourself. The first person you need to try to save is yourself before you go and try to save somebody else. It even says it when you're flying a plane. When they tell you, when they have how to save yourself in case of an emergency, The first person they say is put that bag over your face first. And then even if it's a child next to you, they still tell you to save yourself first, even if it's a child. You know, most people want to go for the children. They have to, no. Nope. It says you save yourself first, and then you save somebody else. Okay? So this giving in order to receive, you need to give to yourself first. The first law of nature is the law of preservation, self-preservation. If you're not preserving yourself, why are you going to preserve somebody else? If the first priority is not preserving yourself. And that's what a lot of us have a hard time with. And then because of the way this particular society that we have lived in for so long, that we have been indoctrinated in so long, we think it's selfish. We've been taught it's selfish to put ourselves first, because we're termed selfish in a bad way, right? Because see, selfish needs to be balanced too, because you do need to be selfish, but it needs to be a balance, because you have to do something for yourself. You can't just constantly go out and helping everybody else and you ignoring yourself. That's like a sin. That's a sin. So anyway, it also has to do with the inner self and how you feel about yourself and what you think you deserve. Okay, so one thing I agree with what's in the Bible is, so a man thinketh, so he is. So no matter how much you give to somebody, if you can't see that you deserve what you put out there, then you're not going to get back what you put out there. Okay? So that is something I had to grow up learning. And constantly casting your pearls to people who don't deserve what you have, that's not going to result in you receiving what you want. And then you also have to look into who you are, because what somebody else can get might not necessarily be what's for you. You and that other person don't have the same destiny. It's not to put down somebody else. I don't want to get into that, even though some people are born to be wicked. They were born wicked. They're going to die wicked because they can't be nothing else. And it's nothing to judge. It's just what it is. That's the thing about being shadow. That's the thing about being dark, is that you accept things for what they are, not to judge them. And some people, we see them get whatever they want and they look like they ain't the best of people, because they ain't meant to rise up like that. So in this wicked world, they probably gonna get what they want and they gonna die in those things, because they are who they are. They were born wicked. They gonna die. I'm about to say a devil, but I have a different. There's a false devil and a real devil, and the real devil was called the devil when they wanted to bring the truth, and that was the devil in this particular, in the dispensation that's passed. Okay, the one that wanted to bring the truth was called the devil. So I don't want to just use that word like that no more. But anyway. That's it. That's all I really want to say, is that sometimes we look at other people and you don't want to do that, and you don't want to judge what you're getting according to looking at what somebody else is getting, and think you need to do what they're doing, because you don't know their destiny. You need to learn your own life. You need to learn your own purpose. You need to know why you're here. You need to know why you incarnated in this particular time. You need to know a lot of things. You need to know your assignment. You need to know yourself, and not look at somebody else. Because that one thing, give in order to receive, can mean different for so many people depending on why you came here in the first place. Who you are, who you really are. Maybe you weren't, and this goes for me too, maybe you weren't supposed to be a big star in this particular life that you incarnated in. Maybe you were not supposed to be the star. Maybe you were supposed to rise to a certain higher dimension. And then you get what you want then. Okay? Or maybe this is all about getting to know yourself. Because when I look at, true enough, I know what my purpose is. But just because you know that you could be good in a lot of things, for some reason it was kept away from you. And getting to know yourself is, okay, I have all these gifts, I got all this stuff in me, but it seems like I can't really practice what I want to do in my lifetime. And it's not necessarily, it's really about where you are energetically, about where you are spiritually. And a lot of us were not intended to be a huge star, a celebrity, or whatever, or even other aspects under a certain rulership. Let me say it like that, under a certain rulership, while certain entities were still ruling, some of us were not meant to be seen like that, while other entities were still ruling. Some of us were supposed to be hidden. And it was like, no matter how much we try, it's like, why can't they see me? Why can't, and some of us like, you can't nobody see you, like, good grief. And the people who, like, it seems like nobody can hear them, like, they say things that make sense. It's like, why can't they hear me? It's like, what's wrong? Something going on with my throat chakra? Like, what's happening? Like, people can't hear me, No, you weren't supposed to be seen, because if it was intended for you to be seen and heard, you would have been seen and heard. And then it's like, now things are about to be clearing up. A lot of us are clearing up things in ourselves, because it's time for us to move to that level where we thought we were supposed to be in that particular time, which we weren't. But now we're clearing ourselves up to be what we're supposed to be. Right? Because we're moving to a different level. Okay? So anyway, I think I switched a little bit from the giving in order to receive. But anyway, that's it. I was just talking about giving in order to receive, but that's it. And I will talk later.